Jack, you can't say you value women's sports if you don't value women's bodies.
Fucking mic drop. We should just end the episode right now.
Hey,
Duh.
everybody. Hey, everybody. It's Lauren Duletzke.
And I'm Jacki Gemelos.
And this is the Click Clack Show, where we talk about all things women's sports and women's lives. And as always, there's too much to talk about. But we picked some good stuff today.
Yeah, we did. And also shout out to International Women's Month. We are celebrating hard this month, but it's not just a celebration in March. Women's Month is every month, y'all. Like, here we are in the midst of women's sports, talking about women's sports, women's hoops, all the good things. So I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to be recording this episode with you, Elle. It's about to be a fun one.
I keep saying to everybody in my orbit, what a time to be alive in sports, and especially women's sports. It's such a special time. Love that you shout out. It's Women's History Month, and International Women's Day, I believe, is on the 8th. So it's such a month to celebrate femininity, all the things that make women amazing. And we actually have our girls basketball camp that's free, that's kicking off on the 12th. We have over 100 girls signed up. It's going to be madness and wonderful. So that is our way of contributing and helping give back to create more access for girls in sports.
It is absolutely going to be madness. It's going to be chaos, but it's going to be like the most fun chaos. I can't wait. I'm so happy that we get to do these camps once or twice a year and give back to the younger generation. We always talk about how important that is for us. So yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to teach these little girls and hopefully inspire them.
We can't be in Women's History Month and not talk about something that's so crucial to the infrastructure of supporting women, which is fertility and sports. So, Jack, we've talked about this a lot. We've actually had former people on our podcast who have talked about this as well, in terms of, being in a very elite athlete position and having to think about having children is incredibly difficult. I mean, there are other career paths where it's difficult. I think about, being a surgeon, right? I know a lot of surgeons that have had to go through so much school and focus to get to where they are and have to think about having children. And as a former athlete, I'm really excited to dig into this with you, because we need to be talking about this more. We know that we're in the midst of a insane collective bargaining agreement discussion between the WNBA and the Players Union right now. The NWSL has done a ton as well to fight for more rights when it comes to protecting women in the league, fertility, equal pay, all the things. So I want to dig into this with you a little bit. And let's start by just when you were an elite athlete going into your pro career, did you even think about kids or having kids?
Yeah, well, first, I just want to say this is a topic that athletes need to be discussing more, especially shining light for the younger players in the league that are just coming into the league, because it's important for them to know their options, and it's important for them to know, so they could start to plan a little bit themselves. But to go back to your question, when I entered into my professional career, there were no options like that on the table for me. And I also definitely was not thinking about a family or having kids. I was still trying to hang on to a girlfriend and just have a partner for a X amount of time before I could even think about what that next step was. And honestly, I didn't realize that I even wanted to have kids until I was about 32, 33 years old. So this was pretty recent in my life. But I think, the bigger question here is, do these athletes understand their benefits? Do they know what is being laid out for them? And I don't know if they do. And I think that that's the bigger issue, and that's what we need to start talking about more.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of it comes down to, sports are changing. Women are in the driver's seat for that change. And part of that also comes with getting more equitable pay, more support and infrastructure for the game they love, for their career in sports, but then also thinking about how do we expand education and understanding and destigmatize these important conversations, because they don't have to have those types of conversations in men's sports. They don't have to talk about fertility. Maybe they do, but as women giving birth, these are important things for us to be educated around. So let's start with a couple of statistics that just kind of set the scene here. Under 30 years old right now, it says there's about an 85% chance of conceiving within the first year. After 35, it's about a 60% chance. After 40, it's about a 44% chance. Biology is just biology. That is just how it is. But there are a lot of fertility options now to protect the opportunity to still have children, especially because most people are having kids later in life. I feel like I was super young when I had kids and I was 30. And
Mhm.
so I think this is why we're getting to the importance of education, because by the time you even think about maybe I should freeze my eggs, or maybe I do need to think about what my fertility choices are, it might be too late if you've already signed an agreement, right? And then you have to
Yeah.
cover that all on your own. Another interesting stat, and then I want to get your feedback, Jack, is nearly half of the WNBA is over 30. So like for them, they're starting to enter into that period of their life where they're considering, or maybe
Mhm.
not, like if they want to have kids. And about a third of the NWSL is over 30 as well. So as the leagues expand, as women stay in sports longer, this is going to become a much bigger topic.
Yeah. Yeah, and look, historically, before we had fertility benefits or fertility benefits were even a discussion, um, planning out a pregnancy as a professional athlete was extremely hard. Like, if you wanna have a child in your 20s, you're basically, on the other side of that, you're giving up a year to 2 years of the best time that you're gonna play, in your career. Like, in your 20s, arguably, you're playing the best possible basketball of your life or the best possible, soccer of your life because that is prime time, right? So you're giving up one or the other. Or do you wait until you're in your 30s and your chances of, pregnancy are lower, right? Because of your age, because of biology, like you mentioned. So it was a really hard discussion, and it was a really um, unfortunate circumstance that a lot of these women had to face. And now with fertility benefits and being able to preserve your eggs at a younger age and go through just a 2-3 week process of doing that, an uncomfortable process for sure, is so huge, right? So, you know, y- I would really encourage these younger kids, even if they don't know if they wanna have kids, like, still freeze your eggs because you never know what you're gonna want later in life. And, like, that would be if I was telling players that are coming into the WNBA, that's what I would tell them. I would say, "Look, I'm someone who didn't even know that I wanted kids until I was 32, 33 years old." That's when you become an adult. You have a better understanding of what you wanna do and how you wanna live your life. So, my advice to you, young kids, is, hey, like, really think about maybe using this benefit so that you have these good quality eggs and you can freeze them and store them for the future. Like, that's the conversations that I would wanna be having. And it's just amazing where we've come and that is even an opportunity, so I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, and I do want to share that the leagues have come a long way in terms of now, the partnerships they have to support athletes and players, especially the NWSL, I think has really, really paved a path for professional sports here. So today, the average career length in the NWSL is somewhere between 5 to 7 years. Like, that's like a short stint for most people's like industry careers,
Yeah, for
but it
sure.
is such an important time, right, of their careers, especially with just the impact to their bodies being a professional athlete. Like me in corporate America sitting at my desk is I'm not going to tear my ACL sitting at my desk, unless I'm just being really dumb. Like, I don't know.
I mean, never
But
say never.
never say never. But today, over 11 teams in the NWSL are actually partnered with different fertility clinics. And there is league wide access to fertility support. So I think even knowing that's a possibility and us talking about that is really powerful. And for me as a fan, like I want to know that the league that I care about, the teams and players that I care about are getting that kind of support. And for people that aren't as familiar with different fertility options, with Jack, I definitely want you to talk about your fertility journey because I
Mhm.
think the way you talk about it is very relatable. Their coverage includes IVF, IUI, fertility medication, egg and embryo preservation. So a
Huge.
lot of different options of
Yeah.
how you can prepare for pregnancy. So I wanted to call it the NWSL. When it comes to the WNBA, now their average career length is somewhere between 4 to 6 years. So it was interesting when I saw that stat that so many players are over 30.
Yeah.
And, it's just interesting, like maybe that's kind of when they hit their peak. I don't really know. Um, but there are a lot of different reimbursement packages that I know currently the WNBA provides. So they provide, they can get reimbursed up to $60,000 in costs for adoption, surrogacy, fertility treatments, and egg and embryo freezing. So this stuff is expensive,
Yeah, it
like
is.
crazy expensive. So to have your employers, your league protect that, I think that's when I read that stat from both the leagues, I was like, thank God, because we're
Yeah.
talking about equal pay right now in the WNBA. I'm like, I'm glad that they even today in the current CBA recognize reimbursements here because there are still so many companies in this country that do not. And so I at least want to give them like some flowers for that.
Yeah, no, I mean, a absolutely, those are some wonderful stats, and I do think that this is one of the good things that is going on in the leagues right now, with a lot of the bad conversation around the negotiations with the CBA, like, this is definitely something where they've stepped up, so we gotta give credit where credit is due. My experience with IUI was really intense, and my wife and I decided that we both wanted to freeze our eggs and create embryos. So, I did this when I was about 32 years old. Biologically, you could say that, I wasn't in tip-top shape, right? But I consider myself fertile myrtle because I produced some eggs, y'all. Like, I was fertile. And I don't know exactly how many eggs that I got, but I created about 7 healthy embryos. So I have 7 little babies stored
Little
in the
Jackies.
freezer for about 5 years-ish now. They've been in there for about 5 years. I got 4 girls, I got 3 boys. My wife's got, I don't remember, she's got about 4 good embryos and she's got some boys, she's got some girls, but so we have a lot of options and a lot of babies, that are ready to be implanted. In terms of the process, like I took it really hard. The hormones hit me extremely hard. Carla took it like a champ. She wasn't even affected. We were watching shows and TV and I started crying on something that I would have never cried over, and I'm just like I put my face in my sweatshirt and I just walked upstairs and just like cried by myself, and Carla was just like, "What is happening right now?" Like the hormones for me were intense. So it's basically just a 2-week series of shots and trigger shots, and you're just pumping yourself with tons of hormones, makes you feel really bloated, really gross. You can't work out for that 2 weeks. And if anyone knows me that that was the hardest part for me. I could not work out for 2 weeks. So I was just relentlessly walking on an incline for weeks on end. And just racking up my steps, but not being able to work out is really hard. And like that bloating feeling, that just feeling of just feeling so gross, and then like like the emotions and all of that played, such a big part in it for me. It was hard. Like I never, I'm not someone that would ever want to do that again. Carla went through it twice, took it like a champ both times. She was amazing. And then the actual surgery part of it, just like the extraction, that wasn't as easy as I thought it would be. You get put under, you're in full anesthesia, and it was pretty uncomfortable. And yeah, just the process wasn't great. It's never something I'd want to do again, but like absolutely worth it. And if I could do it all over again, like to have this outcome, I totally would. So yeah, that was my experience.
I love that, and I think all of us women need to be talking about our fertility journeys. It should
For
not be
sure.
some stigmatized thing. I was fortunate enough to, um, get pregnant within the first year of when I was trying, and I was young, I was 29. But I always tell people that nobody's journey to baby looks the same, and everybody's journey to baby shouldn't be the same, and we shouldn't be judging people based on what they use, how they do it. At the end of the day, if you want kids, there's so many ways to realize that. And now my kids are 7 and 4, and it's wild. My life is wild managing them. Pregnancies were really hard. Even during pregnancy, the different diagnoses that can happen, there's just so much uncertainty in this process. So women are truly amazing to me in every sense, and especially when we enter those childbearing years where we have to make some decisions, like, we just put on superhero capes like nobody has ever seen before. Wonder Woman becomes real in every one of us who decides to go on this path. So, or if you don't, that's your choice. And so I think it's an important topic we wanted to bring kind of at the top of the hour of this pod because, even at the Olympics, Amber Glenn brought up her period. We talked about that in our last episode. We need to be talking about women's health issues
For
more
sure.
publicly on global stages because that is what is different between men's sports. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
And they don't have to think about these things as much as we do. But I would like to challenge all of us to be thinking about how do we make postpartum pregnancy, how do we make periods a superpower in sports? Because we don't have enough data and information to know how to make that real. But I guarantee you, if we can send people to the moon, if we can create social media networks, if we can generate AI, we can innovate but this is just such an understudied area. I hope that there will be new innovation in the future that will make women's performance excelled based on these, biological and physiological traits that we have. So anyway, just an interesting topic.
Yeah, just to wrap that up, geez, women are so incredible, right? Like we perform at the highest levels on our periods, which is miserable, I might add. And we have babies in the midst and the peaks of our careers, whatever career that you're in, and we perform at such high levels as a wife, as a sister, as an aunt, as a whoever, and like it's just amazing what we're capable of. And yeah, shout out to all these incredible moms and women, and yeah, it's amazing.
It's amazing. We're never going to stop talking about women on this show.
No, we're not. And speaking about women and speaking about amazing women, let's talk about Serena Williams,
An
please.
amazing mom, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So something kind of piqued our interest that we wanted to unpack with all the clackers out there, which is the intersection of GLP-1, which are the big kind of weight loss innovation that's happened right now, but also has been studied to treat diabetes and also addiction. Just this really game-changing new innovation in pharmaceuticals. And during the Super Bowl, we saw our GOAT, our girl, Serena Williams, front and center talking about GLP-1. And I think the internet is very divided on it because Serena has always been this woman that all of us look up to in terms of like body positivity, inclusion, excellence, motherhood, fashion. She's a fashion icon. Like she wears so many hats in our society. And I think generally our society, while many people are excited about GLP-1, there's also a lot of concerns around it bringing back the culture of like too thin. And we're seeing that play out online right now where like girls who shouldn't be taking GLP-1, do not need it, are using it, and they start to look gaunt in the face. They start to look like that heroin chic look from,
Mhm.
the early 2000s that was detrimental to so many women body image. I mean, I was one of them. And so I think that it's an important conversation to talk about because it's really layered. But I want to kick it over to you first. Like, what's your kind of first instinct in seeing someone like Serena representing GLP-1?
I love it. And I think it's super powerful. When you think of Serena Williams, you think of someone who is a powerful tennis player, right? That has always been very positive with her body and has been a strong, powerful athlete. And one could argue that is why she is the best tennis player on the women's side ever to live. And taking a medication to help her lose weight could arguably change the way that she plays, right? Um, and I think where she's at in her life right now, and wanting this for herself is such a beautiful thing. And I think that you need someone of her stature, of her level, of her eliteness to be an example for other athletes that are still in their career and still actively playing, right? Because GLP-1 is not something to be ashamed of. It's not something to be ashamed of if that's what you need. And there's a lot of people out there and a lot of athletes out there that have different medical issues that they can't lose weight even if they're eating correctly, even if they're training correctly. Something physiologically is holding them up, right? To not be able to lose that weight. So if a GLP-1 is something that can help an athlete lose weight so that they can perform better, like, all power to you. I am so here for that, but I'm also always someone who advocates for, plastic surgery if that makes someone happy, if that makes people happy. I advocate for Botox or any enhancers that make someone feel good about themselves. Like, I am that person when it comes to a weight loss drug, like in sports, I see nothing wrong with it. There are tons of side effects, as we know. There's the nauseousness, there's headaches, there's all these things that have been reported, and that is going to play a part in it because you can't perform if you're feeling those ways, right? But there are medications to help with those side effects too. All this to say, like, I'm really proud of Serena for taking this stance and partnering with this company. She looks beautiful. I know she feels beautiful. She feels great. Yeah, and I'm a supporter.
Love that perspective. And I think it really emphasizes what we've always really advocated on the show, that your body, your choice, you know?
For sure.
I do think that Serena has such a pull on society and how women view themselves, how women perform, the type of leaders we want to be can what in so many ways be tied back to watching Serena in her sport and her always advocating for more than what happens on the tennis court. And I think it's also important to say that her husband, Alexis Ohanian, who was a former co-founder of Reddit, is an investor in Roe, who's the GLP-1 company, and serves on its board. So, like, as a family, they're really invested in this area. And I think, I was not a professional athlete. I have no business talking about how it impacts performance necessarily. But I do think that while so many of us look up to Serena, a lot of us will never be Serena. Like, we just won't. And I think the biggest message that I am hopeful for is that if it can improve your health, that's incredible. Serena's talking about it in improving her health in a really meaningful way. That is her taking control of her body, her choice, her health. I am so with that. The thing that I want young girls to know who maybe want like a quick fix to weight is that GLP-1 is not the way. And it is about building a healthy lifestyle. Even though GLP-1 is there, it's just like AI, right? It's not a crutch. It should be a companion. You still have to fight for a healthy life. There's no free lunch, as the great Scott Galloway says. There's no free lunch, right? We still don't know what the long-term effects, the longitudinal effects are going to be from GLP-1, right? It's being studied heavily right now. It's a huge industry. Pharmaceuticals is taking off. But I just think it's something we all need to balance in an important way, because yes, while it can improve so many things, it can also be detrimental with it in the wrong hands with the wrong perspective. So I do love that an athlete is standing up there who is someone who's an expert on her physiological makeup, because she had to study that every day in her game. But I think it's also really important to understand the sub messages that it's not just about losing weight. It
Mhm.
is about being healthy. It is about building a healthy lifestyle. That is what we can only hope for, because we do not want girls using it just to be heroin chic skinny. That is not it. And even if it makes you feel good, it's so detrimental for your mental health. It's detrimental for your lifestyle. Trust me, as someone who had an eating disorder, I am a huge advocate for helping girls in that zone. So it is a fine line, but I generally agree with you that, do what makes you happy and do it for the right health reasons.
Yeah, and I think you bring up some phenomenal points. Really love your perspective on that, and I couldn't agree more with you because obviously the drug is accessible and really easy for people to get. So there's of course a fine line and a balance between um, you know, people that are taking advantage of that when they don't need to be, and then someone like Serena who's at a place in her life and in her career where that was the right move for her. So everyone is different. So absolutely just calling out everything that you said and just putting the stamp on it. I absolutely agree with you.
I think context matters because people who are taking GLP-1 on average are losing between 15 to 20% of their overall body weight. That's a wild number. You know what I mean? Think about somebody who's kind of right on the tipping point with their BMI, like that's going to take them severely under, right? So it's just this I think that at the end of the day, go to your trusted healthcare providers. Make sure you have someone who knows what they're doing, trusts and knows your body. You feel comfortable communicating with them about your body. This is the case with everything in healthcare, right? Like
Yeah,
just make sure you're not doing it irresponsibly, and that's all I would say. So, but really, I think it'll be very fascinating to see as more athletes come out publicly and talk about being on GLP-1 because all of Hollywood's on GLP-1. Like,
yeah,
and I guarantee there's a lot of athletes that are too or are exploring it just because of what you said around the connection to performance and weight loss.
for sure.
But it's all about healthy use, right?
Yep. Like I said, I mean, it's circumstantial, right? It's everyone is different, everyone has their own journey, and it's amazing that it's accessible now and it is an option. You just got to find that balance for sure.
For sure. So before we move on to the back half of the episode, I just want to call out my nails again.
From your nail tech that you have
So
a crush on.
I'm obsessed with her. Shout out to Renee from Nail Church. We love in the middle of our episodes to get light and bright just around different things that are happening in our lives. And for me, like talk about something that makes me feel super confident are my nails. And I think we're also seeing that translate so much more into women's sports now. Like you see women on the track, like Sha'Carri, you see women even in the Olympics, like with incredible nails. Like there's something happening with nails right now that is like it is becoming like I mean it's always been an art form, but it's like the what you can do with it now is just incredible to me. And my nail artist did these miniature rings on my nails. I
They
call them
look like
my Xenon.
ropes.
Yeah, they look like little rings around like Saturn.
Yeah.
And I think it's like just the innovation happening in the space blows my mind. So I just had to call it out because everybody yesterday when I was at the meeting with you guys, they're like, your nails are crazy.
Yeah, no, they look hella good. You always come with some really cool nails. Obviously nails in sports, like when you're playing a ball sport with your hands, it's a little bit harder, right? But like still, like some women are able to like figure it out and can still like shoot that three and like it's all good. But yeah, no, I love your nails. You always come with some fire
You
nails.
you know, it'd
Shout
be
out to the nail tech.
shout out to the nail tech. You know, it'd be an interesting study
Mm.
is doing a study on a woman with longer nails. I mean, maybe this has been done, but doing a study on someone who has like long nails through shooting threes and then someone who has like really short nails. And is there like, what's the performance implication?
Yeah, so I know that there are women in the WNBA that, like, have nails and, like,
Yeah,
they're
I've
able to
seen it.
play. Yeah, they're able to play and, like, hoop and stuff. So I think it's just, like, if you're used to it, you kind of figure it out? Like, I could never be someone that has nails and, like, try and play basketball. It would be so hard, but
Also,
it's
just you with
definitely
long nails would freak me out.
oh, I know. I would like no, I have never gone to the nail shop and gotten a manicure. Not ever, not once in my
Not
life.
once?
Never.
Even just for like cleaning cuticles and
Nope, never. I have really great hands though, and, like, really good fingers. Check them out.
she's got good hands, everybody.
She's
You
got
heard
good
it here.
hands. Like, I always go get my pedicure. Like, I love getting pedicures, and my feet are always on point. I have really
I
long toes, though. I hate my toes.
what? No
Hate
way.
'em.
Well, I have
Like,
really short toes.
so, you've got my big toe, and then this like, my 2nd toe is longer than my big toe. Fucking hate it. And I have,
Feet
like, skinny toes too.
Are we gonna get into, like, a full-on feet conversation on this pod?
I mean, we can, like, talk about feet, like, I wish my toes, like, went down like they're supposed to, but I have here, up. It's tragic.
So for you, it's your toes, for me, it's my neck. We've established that.
Yeah, I low key would be fine with, like, having them chop my toes off and, like, making them shorter and then sewing them back on.
Some
Yeah,
Frankenstein shit over here.
it's a lot. Yeah, not a big fan of these toes, though I keep them up. Like, I go get a pedicure, like, at least once every 3
I
weeks.
mean, anybody out there who's not if you have the means to, get yourself some self-care. It feels
It's
so
so
good.
important.
I have not done it enough lately. I'm generally, like, hanging on by a thread. I keep saying I'm putting, like, bubble gum on cracks right now, but when I do take the time to just really, like, get my nails done, it just rejuvenates me, and I'm, like,
Seriously. Yeah, but
so
that
here for it.
I'm so here for this topic right now. Is like, it's a reminder to everyone who's listening. Take some time for yourself. Go get a massage, go get your toes done. Do what you gotta do, work out, like, whatever makes you happy, go and do that because, like, we deserve that. We deserve to give that back to ourselves because how are we supposed to be and show up for other people if we're not, like, good within ourselves, you know?
100%, and it's a good reminder that I need to think about that right after this episode, so
Yeah. Yeah, and
making me
I feel like
time.
I'm always trying to remind you of that too because, like, I will go get my massages, like, I try and go get a massage once a month. I invest there, like, that is
Yeah,
important to me, you
yeah.
know, and I don't think you do that enough, so I'm gonna stay on you.
Yeah, stay on my ass. I need
I
it.
will.
But, while we enjoy our self-care, we have such an exciting month of all sports starting. Jackie, I know, is literally over the moon about this. And I am too, because I'm excited to make my bracket, but we're heading into March Madness. It is going to be so exciting. The stories in NCAA women's basketball have been incredible. I was really fortunate enough to go sit at the University of Portland women's basketball game versus Gonzaga. That game was unbelievable. I think the stat is that University of Portland had never beat Gonzaga ever in the history in a regular season game, and they beat them in overtime. And it was
That's
like
fire. What a
it w
game.
it was what a game, and also half their bench was out with injuries. They have a young team. Like, it was one of those stories. I'm hoping to cover it on our social media when it can come up for air, but shout out to the University of Portland women's basketball team because the grit and how they fought through adversity as a team and because Gonzaga basketball is very high tier as far as, like, the West Conference, the WAC conference? Like, I don't think that's what they're part of, but
I'm
regardless, like,
actually
it was
not
just
sure if it's, West Coast Conference, WAC, I'm not sure.
yeah, I'm not sure, but regardless, it was such a great game. It was so cool to be in my backyard seeing these women excel. So, it got me so excited for March Madness.
Absolutely. Shout out to my college teammate and best friend, Erica Hughes, for getting WCC Coach of the Year. She's the head coach at Loyola Marymount, and they had an incredible season this year. Erica absolutely rocked it. I'm not surprised. She's a young head coach in this industry, and I think this season, earning that honor is really gonna put her on the map and, to be considered for these bigger jobs. So proud of her. She was my captain. So shout out to Erica. That's what's up. So happy for you. And so we're recording on March 4th, which is a Wednesday. And today, throughout the weekend, the conference tournament championships are happening. So what that means is all the teams within the conference are playing in a tournament and they're all seeded, right? So the top seeds will play the lower seeds, so on and so forth. And then they'll, get to the conference championship at the end of the weekend on Sunday. I am headed to the SEC championship tournament, or sorry, I'm headed to the SEC conference tournament championship in Greensville, South Carolina tomorrow. I'm so excited. The SEC conference is literally insane. All the teams are good. It's such a strong conference. I'm so excited. And, just to, I guess let me stop there because I want you to respond before I go into it too much. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, will be watching from TV. At this point, I'm like, I don't have enough TVs to have all the conferences on. Like, I'm gonna have a split screen, but I'm gonna try and watch snippets of as many as I can, just because I'm really excited to see, especially that conference, how everything kind of nets out. I mean, I think it's undeniable that UConn, I believe they're still undefeated. They just are absolute, like, they get, like, I'm like, AZ can't lose. Like,
Well,
she's just like,
yeah, they are undefeated in their regular season. They're in the Big East Conference, which isn't a super strong conference. So, their biggest test is gonna be postseason and March Madness for sure.
let's go. Thank you for dropping in that knowledge, because I'm like, I didn't realize their conference maybe isn't as competitive as like SEC, but is it
Not
that what is it?
even Yeah, not even close. SEC is popping, Big 10 is good, Big 12 is good, ACC is good. So there's a lot of it's gonna be a really fun conference championship weekend this year to see all the great teams compete against each other. Um, yeah, I'm just so pumped. There's just too much good basketball coming up right now.
I hope you'll be sending me hot takes from courtside as you
You
always do.
already know. Oh, and all of the conference awards came out yesterday, so shout out to all the first team all conference hoopers out there. The conference of the year, the MVP of the year for the conferences, like shout out, all defense, second team, all these honors for these players. And it's so cool to see young players earn these honors too, because now you start to see, okay, who are these young players that are already setting the tone, achieving these awards, like the sky's the limit for them and how they're going to, pan out for the rest of their college career. So, yeah, really exciting time to be in women's basketball right now. It's going to be great.
I have a weird question. If for all of these honors that get distributed for some of the top players, do I mean, I would imagine like the WNBA and these pro leagues are looking for those types of resume builders, right? As they're looking at the draft and kind of how things are going to stack up. Do you see often a lot of people that get those honors that don't get invited to the draft or get invited to continue on? Like, what is the correlation there? I don't know if you can even answer that. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of these honors, they can happen to freshmen, sophomore, junior, seniors, right? So they're in the beginning stages of their college careers. The seniors that are going to be entering the draft, if they're getting honors like that, chances are they're, hopefully getting invited to New York, but not all of them because, I don't know how many invites are going to go out this year, somewhere between 12 to 15. And like some of these seniors that got these honors in their conference might not get invited. And honestly, like the SEC being such a strong conference that it is, a lot of those SEC players that are seniors are going to be entering the draft, right? But then, you've got other great players like from UCLA. There's 3 or 4 seniors on their team that'll be entering the draft that'll um, you know, probably gonna get an invite to the draft, but yeah, it doesn't really, like, correlate like that, but you would think and hope that they do, but there just isn't enough spots for those invites. Doesn't mean they're
Right.
not gonna get drafted, they're more than likely getting drafted for sure.
Well, that makes sense. But if they don't, I hope they're putting that at literally the top of their resume for their next job. So,
For
because
sure.
that should be a pretty big part of your
Super
pedigree,
important.
in my opinion. But so any predictions for this weekend? I know that we're recording. It'll hit after the championship or the games this weekend. But any like kind of early predictions you can shed light on?
Man, for the SEC, it's gonna be so competitive. I mean, you got Texas, you got South Carolina, Ole Miss, who's like a team that could surprise some people. Vanderbilt is playing at such a high level right now. You never know with SEC. I don't know. Whoever is
Mm,
playing the best basketball during this time of the year, that's who's gonna win.
that's exciting.
ACC, you got Duke. I'm gonna go with Duke. For the Big Ten, I'm probably gonna go with UCLA. That's hard for me to say given, my alma mater is USC.
They're number two
Um,
right now, right? Are they number two or
um,
number three in rankings?
that's a good question. In the Big
It's high up. I was like, "Whoa, UCLA." I just checked the AP
UCLA is up
rankings.
there. Yeah. No, absolutely. UCLA is definitely up there. Um, and then, the Big 12, you've got TCU. Love TCU. I don't know. Maybe those are some predictions. There's some teams I'm throwing out there, but there's just so many
Love
good
it.
teams.
Well, we'll see if you're right, but honestly, I also love when everybody's thrown off and it's just like a total surprise, like underdogs, and
Yeah,
that's
you
what I
never
live for.
know.
That's what I live for in sports is the underdog stories. That's why the UP game, this I was like, "Oh my god." I was so excited for the
That's
women because
exciting.
it was also
Yeah.
senior night. I forgot to mention it was senior night too. So it was just very special, special, special game. Well, it's going to be a wild 6 to 8 weeks with March
Yes, it
Madness,
is.
and then
We will be tuning in to a lot of
hopefully
it on this pod.
yeah, and then hopefully we are hopeful for a WNBA season to start on time. We will report on that more down the line.
TBD. I cannot go into the CBA anymore. I don't even wanna talk about it until
Let's not
something
even
comes
say that
out.
acronym.
Yeah.
Um, okay, before we get to one of our favorite sections of the episode, which is Coach's Corner, we want to remind you that the Paralympics kick off this week. We are March 4th. We've got the opening ceremony. The games are going to be kicking off. We're going to be seeing such incredible athletes. Major shout out to Allison Lang, who's a former Paralympian. She has single-handedly been carrying the marketing for the Paralympics on Threads and Instagram. She's grown in hugely in follower count because she's responding to every single person when they're like, "I'm so sad the Olympics are over." She's like, "Well, guess what? The Paralympics are here." So just an important reminder because the Paralympics often do not get even 1/10 of what the Olympic coverage looks like. Don't quote me on that stat, but just generally, we're not seeing it penetrate media the way that it should. These athletes are incredibly competitive. They're world class. In fact, I think some of the sports they compete in are even harder than like some of the other sports that we see in the Olympics. And so highly, highly recommend you watch these incredible athletes. We will be covering more of them on our social, on the podcast. And yeah, it's just a beautiful time to be in Olympic and Paralympic momentum.
Shout out to the Paralympic athletes. Y'all are crushing it. Y'all are amazing. The amount of work that goes into what you do to get on this stage does not go unseen. And I think I'm really happy that you brought this up, Lauren. It's an important point to encourage our followers and our listeners to tune in and watch. They are no less than the Winter Olympics that just happened. And yeah, absolutely. And it's a good reminder for me as well.
Yeah, can't wait to see all the stories because I live for all the Olympic and Paralympic stories.
Yes, you do.
I'm gonna be sad when the Paralympics are over. That's when we can all be sad because we have to wait until
Yeah.
LA 28, but
Oh, it's a
lots
long
of
wait.
it's a long wait, but there's a lot of really great things coming up, World Cup 27, women's soccer. It's gonna be insane. So just great, great buildup.
Mhm.
All right, well let's head over to Coach's Corner because it is something that's really meaningful to us. You've seen us cry, you've seen us laugh, we've felt all the things on Coach's Corner. So I'm gonna start with you, Jack, today on what's on your mind with Coach's Corner.
Okay. So, the harder the conflict, the greater the triumph. Do you know who said that?
No.
George Washington.
Hmm.
And when I was in the shower this morning and I was talking to my dad on the phone, I was telling him about my amazing morning and all the things that I accomplished. I woke up at 4:30. Before 10 a.m., I had checked off a majority of everything that I needed to do on my list today. And my dad said that quote. My dad's a quote guy. He lives for these quotes. And uh, I was like, "Thank you, Dad. I'm so glad you brought this up to me and you brought this to my attention. I'm going to talk about this today in my coach's corner when we record." I think it is just such a strong statement, right? And it's like, I feel like I truly embody that and I live by that. And I believe you do too, Lauren. Um, and let's break it down a little bit. The harder the conflict, the greater the triumph, right? Like, there is so much on our plates day to day, right? The world is on our shoulders. We have so much going on. And not just you and I, everyone has their own shit and their own things, right? But the greater the responsibility and the greater, the workload and everything, right? Like the greater the triumph. When you are presented with so much and you come out on top, it is so rewarding, And I think like live in the moment, step by step, one thing at a time. And we talk about this, you and I, all the time, Elle. one thing at a time and focus on that one thing at a time, check it off your list, and you're gonna feel so good at the end of it, you know? And, like, I wanna remind everyone too, like, yes, we all have goals, but, like, enjoy the process along the way. You know, it's so important to enjoy that process along the way and not lose sight of how amazing it is to be in what we're doing, what we're all doing. So let me stop there before I keep going on.
I always every time you talk, I'm just, like, locked in.
I love you. I feel the
And
same way.
I'll be honest, like, getting onto the pod today, I was feeling, like, the weight on my shoulder, like, the weight of the world on my shoulders, which I know it's
Atlas.
all what'd you say? Atlas, yeah. Well, it's all relative, right? And I know that I live a really beautiful, charmed life, and a lot of the opportunity we're creating, like, we're doing it because we work hard. And so it's like it's a double-edged sword. It's like, go for more work, get more work. Like,
Absolutely.
that's just like that's where we are. But I really every time you speak and just like the way you transfer your knowledge from sports into real life application, because you dealt with that every day, just with I mean, we all do in certain ways, but I think athletes, especially the way they're conditioned is just different.
Mhm.
And so it calms me. It really calms me. I
Oh,
feel like
good.
calm needs to partner with as many athletes as they possibly can to put these little
I know.
affirmations in.
I know.
But quotes matter, and I love that you come with so many great quotes at the end of our episodes. My little coach's corner is going to be very simple. It's look around you, because my daughter's about to turn 7, my son is 4, and I have someone in my family who's dying of pancreatic cancer right now, and I feel so many things right now that are really difficult, and it's someone who's been in my life forever, and at the end of the day, like, we can all get, like, so stuck in our shit and not, like, look around and take a pause and really look around, and it's hard. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I struggle with it on a daily basis of, like, get out of your little rabbit hole and, like, look around, like, the world is turning, everything is good. And so I think, especially for parents, like, our kids, they always say, "The days are long, but the years are short," and that is so true, and my kids are getting older and I'm working really, really hard. And I do struggle with that sometimes of like, should I be working less right now so I can really be there for them? But I really try and be there for them. And it is the constant battle of a parent, especially for mothers, just because so much of the like childbearing does come onto us, and we also birth them, so it's like, it's a lot. It's a lot to think about, but, that's why you have to surround yourself with an incredible community, people that really see you like you see me, I see you, people that, will always be in your corner, and also people that will be your mirrors and be like you did today where you're like, basically stop complaining, but also I see you. And so I'm like, I love that because we need our mirrors, like we really do. So that's my little coach's corner for today
So
on
good.
on
So,
how
so good. I'm so happy you brought that up, and I feel like it goes hand in hand with what I said. Just, like, pause, look around, enjoy the journey. Also, like, stop and, like, you know, see what else is up outside of your bubble. So, really well said. I love it. It was beautiful.
yeah. I feel like our coaches' corners often complement each other. They're
Yeah.
different, but they complement each other, but
Yeah.
I think that's what makes them so great. But we hope that you after this episode, you go look around. Go look around. Go on a little adventure. Go in your
Mhm.
neighborhood. If you need to get in the car and see something different, take your dog on a walk, just look around.
Yeah. Take a look,
Take a look.
put your glasses on. Take a
Like,
look.
you could wear glasses like Jackie if you want. She's wearing these very cool kind of like orange glow glasses.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I just wanted to
It's
throw them on.
it's giving music producer to me.
I'll fucking take it. If I look like a music producer, I'm here for it.
Maybe that's a future career for you, who
I
knows?
mean, you never know. Like,
The
we shall
chameleon.
see.
W
Well, all I gotta say before we wrap this up, if you loved or hated this episode, I would still really encourage you to go subscribe on our YouTube. And our YouTube is the Click Clack Show. So make sure you head over there and go subscribe. I don't know where we're at on the subscriber count, but I'm guessing
We have
somewhere in the
hit the
30s.
30s.
Yes,
30!
I figured. And while you're at it, go give us a follow on Instagram or TikTok and support us there as well. Lauren does an incredible job on those pages. Yeah, we appreciate you, Clack Pack.
We love you all, and we'll see you next week for another riveting episode.
See you next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye.